Hi, I'm Keith Wolf. I'm CEO of Resume Spice, and we are excited to be able to offer this service to the community. We are reviewing resumes for free, and we are shooting videos of them and sharing them broadly. So, if you want to submit your resume for review, please go ahead and do that. Go to resumespice.com/free resume consultation, or just search free resume consultation on the internet, and we should be one of the first options there on Google. So go ahead and do that if you're interested. But just keep in mind, we're going to be sharing these videos publicly. So if you like to do this, please remove your identification, anything identifying you that you wouldn't feel comfortable others seeing. But we do want to share them broadly so that others can benefit from the reviews that we're doing. So let's jump in. We know a lot of folks are in difficult spots right now, so hopefully this will be helpful. Okay, so we have our first resume here, and first glance, the thing that I see, and just keep in mind when we're going through these, the HR managers who are reviewing these, the hiring managers that are taking a look at these, they don't, as we all have read, they don't spend hours, even many minutes, looking at these resumes. So this is typically a very quick screen that they do. So to be fair to that process, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time going through each resume in a lot of detail. Of course, when we work on resumes, we do that because ultimately the final person who's reviewing the resume, the actual decision maker, most likely will be going into more detail. But we're looking at this point just for the purposes of this review, more at a top level. So what I see immediately is great tenure. So kudos to this person for just having really strong tenure, being at one company for many years in multiple positions. So it looks like they've been promoted from a sales engineer, starting as a technician to a sales engineer to a regional manager to a national sales manager to a global sales and technical manager. So that is very impressive. So great job there. When I start at the top, kind of when I've taken a look at that, I start at the top. You're going to want to take this information and really put it at the bottom of the resume. Okay, so skills and abilities are great, but they're not as relevant as the actual experience. And when I see excellent communication skills or even highly proficient in Microsoft Office products, we typically want to remove that, just because it's generic. So excellent communication skills, that's pretty much assumed. And if you put it, that's not going to convince anybody that you have it. So there's really no upside, and it just takes up space. So I would remove anything generic like that. And then Microsoft Office, unless the job description pointed out that that's a key element of the job, I would remove that as well. And for somebody at this level, it's probably assumed that you're pretty proficient in Microsoft Office. So I would remove that. And I would put this information at the bottom. And if I were getting into more detail here, I would say, list out the publications, or sorry, the articles where you have the publications. Maybe one or two. You don't want to get into too much detail there because it becomes more like a CV than a resume. But just to give the reader an idea of what types of articles, maybe list a couple. Okay, so let's get into this area because this is really the meat of the resume, and this is the most important part. Most resume reviewers are going to look at where you've been, what your role was, and how long you were there as the first things they're checking. So again, great job for being in a company for many years. So great job there. But if we want to look for things to improve, the fact that you were a sales manager and you're in sales roles for most of your career, or not all of your career, it's expected that you would have some quantifiable information. So information about how you grew sales, how you grew top line revenue, anything that you did to grow that, the sales for the company would be included, and the actual figures are important. So, if you've been in a sales role for this long, there's no doubt that you've had an impact on sales. So you want to quantify that and point that out in your resume. And I didn't see that for any of the roles when I glanced at it. So you're going to want to do that. And then if I get into just some of the grammar elements of the resume. So this is just an example, and I sort of see this throughout. Lead all sales efforts and technical support for Butterworth and network of representatives. There's no reason to capitalize representatives or distributors. There's no reason to capitalize interview, hire, terminate, or domestic manufacturers representatives. And I see those issues throughout. I also see just grammar issues. So prospect for, interview, hire, terminate contracts for. That's some grammar that needs to be cleaned up. So again, I see that throughout the resume. You're going to want to fix that. Also, another point is acronyms. Just keep in mind the person who's reviewing the resume first may not be familiar with all these acronyms. So you typically want to spell those out. And you probably, if you're a member of these groups, you probably want to put that at the bottom of the resume. Talk about memberships or affiliations or groups that you're part of. That can be important, but just put that at the bottom. The other thing, just from a formatting standpoint, I see things like this. So you've got bullets here, but they're different sizes. It looks like this, and this is a PDF, so I can't tell exactly, but it looks like it's in Arial. You want to look at some of the more modern font types. So you can go to our website, look at some of our examples, and we even have some articles and some different font types that we recommend. So just go to resumespice.com. You can look at our samples there. You can look at our blog and see some of the recommendations we have. And then just kind of going back to this part right here. So this is the most important area, is the experience, but we do typically recommend that you have a branding statement at the top as well as a title. So what we normally do is the title that you're going for, which is usually very related to the role where you've been. So in this case, this is a fairly specific sales title. So you may not get that specific, but maybe you call it a national sales manager or a global sales manager or just a sales manager. That'll be the title at the top. And then the branding statement will be a couple sentences about your background, some highlights from your background that you include as well. So again, go to our website, look at the samples, resumespice.com, and you'll see some of the branding statements that we use, and you can get some ideas there. So those are the top things that I just wanted to point out about the resume. Of course, we're happy to work on resumes at resumespice.com. If you just go there and if you've got a resume that you need to work on, or LinkedIn profile or cover letter, we do all those things. So we're happy to help out. But hopefully this was helpful. If you want to take a stab yourself, and hopefully that gave you enough information to go on. The other thing I would just point out is this is a PDF. This should be formatted perfectly, because if you send a PDF to somebody, I should be able to open it in the same format that you created it in. But you can see here the formatting just, to me, looks a little bit off, but just something to be aware of. Okay, so hopefully that helps, and good luck out there. Thank you.